Magandang araw mga Proyekto. Welcome to Proyekto Pilipinas. Welcome to new episode. Finally, after several weeks, meron tayong new episode. At saka kung mapapansin nyo, all-star cast tayo ngayon. Kompleto ho kami. And of course, we have a very distinguished guest. And I think very relevant ho yung topic natin ngayon. Pag-uusapan ho natin ang init, the heat wave that we are experiencing. So, we'd like to welcome Dr. Alfredo Mahar Lagmay ng Executive Director of the UP Resilience Institute. Dr. Lagmay, welcome po. Maraming pong salamat for joining us.
Ay, maraming salamat din po. Thank you for inviting me and the UP Resilience Institute.
Doctor, let's get tumbukin na ho natin yung usapan alam nyo, itong tinding init na ito, parang ngayon lang natin ito naramdaman. At saka mahabang panahon. Pwede niyo ba kung paliwanag at least yung scientific or the science behind what's going on?
Unang-una, ano tayo, no? Dito sa Philippines, meron tayong mga summer months, no? At meron tayong mga bear months. Yung mga bear months, alam naman natin na malamig 'yon, di ba? Yun yung Christmas, pagdating ng January, malamig pa rin, ano? Dito yan sa Metro Manila, yung mga low-lying areas. Of course, alam natin, ang Baguio, ano siya, palaging malamig, no? But associated yung summer talaga sa matinding init. Ano yon? Ang tawag doon ay climate. Now, merong mga panahon, no, katulad ng itong this year, no, na parang unusual, no? Ako personally, I have not, as far as I remember, experienced this kind of heat, no, dito sa loob ng bahay namin. Parang nagtaka ako, parang masakit sa balat yung yung pakiramdam, hindi okay, no? And gaya nga ng sabi nyo, kayo for so many years diyan sa may West Grove, ngayon lang kayo naka-experience ng summer kasi sabi nyo malamig diyan because of its elevation, no? Mataas kumbaga ang West Grove. Now, merong mga factors that aggravate the situation ng summer. Okay? Dalawa ang nakikita ko. Dalawa. As of the moment, no? Aside from being the fact na it's summer. One is that we're still in the El Nino phase, no? Ibig sabihin nun, pag may El Nino, it's a natural phenomenon. It has been happening for the longest time. But the meaning or the association of El Nino for the Philippines is that it is linked with yung droughts, no? Mainit, mga kulang ng tubig kasi nag-evaporate kaagad yung tubig, nag-evaporate yung tubig sa dams, no? Hindi ma-irrigate yung mga palayan, no? So it's associated with drought. In contrast to the La Nina phenomenon na sa Philippines in the Western Pacific associated siya with a lot of rain. It's relatively wet. It's a natural cycle, no? Itong El Nino and La Nina, no? It has been happening for the longest time.
Okay.
Now, ito na yung pangalawa na sinasabi ko na nag-aggravate nung summer heat. Meron kasi tayong ginagawa, no, since the industrial period, no? 1800s, late 1800s, I guess, yung industrial period, na kung saan tayo nagsimula nag-burn ng fossil fuels. Nag-invento tayo ng mga machines powered by coal, by fossil fuels. And because of the burning of fossil fuels, no, which yung CO2 is a greenhouse gas, we have been emitting a lot of these greenhouse gases, primarily the CO2. And it formed a blanket around the earth, parang kumot, na pag pumasok yung sun's rays, hindi makalabas. So painit ng painit yung ating mundo. And since the industrial revolution, we have made the Earth's atmosphere, no, yung average temperature, to be warmer. by ngayon nag-increase na lang anywhere from 1.1 to 1.2 degrees compared to the pre-industrial period. So pataas ng pataas 'yon. And what we want to do is to limit that temperature rise by 1.5 degrees centigrade. And we need to do this by 2030. We have increased the temperature, the average temperature of the Earth, no, yung atmosphere, by 1.1 degrees or 1.2, no? Pataas. I'm not exactly sure, but it's in that range compared to pre-industrial levels. And masyadong mabilis yung rate na doon sa mga agreements, yung mga scientists and politicians, they want to limit that temperature rise by 2030 only up to 1.5 degrees. Why? Because the consequences are really bad for us. No? Parang ang sinasabi when I went to the APEC meeting sa San Francisco and I heard Ban Ki-moon himself talk in Korea. They said that there's no planet B. We only have planet A. If we don't limit the carbon emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions, there will be global warming. And if we reach that tipping point, baka irreversible ang mga effects. And this might be yung naramdaman natin this year. No? Yung naramdaman ko this year. Na baka ito na nga yung sinasabi ng mga climate scientists. No? And I'm really very concerned. Kasi it seems like what they are saying is already happening. And we don't want next year to be hotter than this year. No? Ang problema lang, nagta-transition na tayo to La Nina. So ibig sabihin, magiging mas maulan na. No? So I guess next year, hindi naman siguro magiging kasing init. But since cycle yung El Nino and La Nina, there will come a time na babalik ulit itong El Nino at baka ma-experience natin even hotter temperatures than what we experienced this year because of continued greenhouse gas emissions, which make our Earth warmer and warmer and warmer.
So this year, ang naging kwento, yung init, yun ang talagang parusa sa ating lahat. And in fact, it had one concrete effect. They're bringing back the old school year, di ba? As a consequence of this. But before this, I remember ang nangyayari sa mga ibang lugar, sa Mindanao for example, na kung dati hindi sila binabagyo masyado, ngayon tinatamaan sila ng bagyo. The other thing I'd heard was yung dati Mindanao was very productive yung sa electricity produced from water. And then ngayon, that's drying up. And then other areas naman na dating palaging inuulan, nagiging tuyo. So can you walk us through, over the past few decades, parang nagiging mas grabe ang mga bagyo, parang nagiging mas unpredictable ang panahon. How is this and why is this all happening?
Okay. I will just add to what I said previously, no? Na meron tayong global warming. And because of that global warming, nag-change yung ating climate. Yung dating mga hindi inuulan na, no? There's a new norm. Mas malakas ang mga bagyo, mas madami ang ulan, mas malawak ang mga baha dahil sa mas madami ang ulan. These are all predictions of climate scientists. So kasi ganun ang science eh. Parang hindi siya ad hoc, parang hindi bagong explanation every time na kailangan mo explain ng isang bagay. At saka sa science, they are able to predict, no? Like we are able to predict that the sun will rise tomorrow. Or pagka naghahanap ako ng star, it's in that position, no? At this time of day, we can predict. So the climate scientists, because they know, pinag-aaralan nila yung effect ng blanketing ng greenhouse gases ng ating atmosphere, hindi makalabas yung energy ng sun, hindi makabalik sa space, no? Umiinit ng umiinit, and they can track that. Ang sinasabi nila, tuloy-tuloy yung pag-init, and as a consequence, magkakaroon ng pagbabago ng panahon, okay? Which in English is climate change. Now, ano ba yung mga impacts nun? Natutunaw yung yelo sa North Pole, South Pole, yung mga glaciers natutunaw. And because natunaw sila, tumataas yung sea level, which is dangerous for coastal communities. Pag uminit yung atmosphere, hindi lang yung atmosphere, pati yung ating mga oceans umiinit din. Kapag uminit yan, yung mga corals, ang tinatawag yung acidification ng tubig, namamatay yung mga coral reefs. At alam naman natin, pag namatay ang coral reefs, yung maliliit na isda ay mamamatay din. At pag walang maliit na isda, walang malaking isda. At pag walang malaking isda, wala tayong pagkain. So marami ang impacts, malaki ang impacts ng climate change, which we need to address. Okay? So ano pa ba? Malakas na bagyo, malakas na hangin, mas madaming ulan. Pag mas madaming ulan, mas malawak yung baha, mas delikado. Pagka mas malawak, mas madaming ulan, ay may landslides na mas marami. At pag malakas yung hangin ng bagyo, mas malaki ang storm surge. So, ang laki ng problema natin. And to be able to change this, we need two steps, no? Two things that we need to do. The first one is called climate change mitigation. And the second one is called climate change adaptation. These may be fancy terms, no? Fancy terms. But it only means this. It's simple. Yung climate change mitigation, bawasan natin ang ating pag-burn ng fossil fuels. Sa ganung paraan, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng pag-init ng ating mundo. Yung climate change adaptation, if we are not able to curb the increase in CO2 emissions and other greenhouse gases, we should expect or anticipate the adverse impacts. And we need to do it now, as early as now. We need to make plans sa communities how to address the future, to anticipate the hazards of the future. And that is called climate change adaptation. Okay, dalawa, mitigation at saka climate change adaptation. So, may analogy tayo dyan. Kunyari, credit card. Pag gumamit ka ng credit card, merong nakasakay do sa credit card mo, no? O pagka malakas ang gastos ng credit card, siyempre, may impacts 'yon sa iyo, di ba? Ano ba yung impacts noon? Kailangan ka magbayad ng mas marami. And pagka masyadong madami, meron ng adverse impacts, di ba? And you need to adapt, no? You adapt by paying more or working more. You need to save up on money so that you can pay the credit card debt. But there are also mitigation measures. One is i-cut nyo yung linya ng credit card ng gumagamit other than you. Okay? O mag-save ka. So, hindi ko naman sinasabi na misis yun, ano? Pero pwedeng kausapin para mabawasan. Ang tawag doon, mitigation. Yung adaptation, gagawa ng paraan para makapag-adapt ka so that you can pay your credit card debts. No? So, ayun, ang analogy, it can be your children, no? Na mitigate, kausapin sila para mabawasan. Pagka nabawasan, yung pag maganda ang mitigation, less adaptation as well. So you can apply this analogy to how we manage yung global warming, no? We reduce greenhouse gases, and if we reduce greenhouse gases, yung adaptation measures natin will be less.
Siyempre po yung global warming, ang dahilan ng global warming is yung greenhouse gases, pero yung greenhouse gases mostly yung mga emitters nun, mga mas mayayaman na bansa, hindi tayo, hindi yung Pilipinas. So ayun nga yung inequity doon. So Ano yung pwedeng gawin ng ating gobyerno para tugunan itong problema na to? Dahil hindi naman niya pwedeng sabihin sa Estados Unidos, tumigil kayo, or sa China na tumigil kayo.
Correct. Yan yung tinatawag na, okay, you might have heard this already repeatedly. Climate justice. There's this clamor for climate justice. Ang Philippines ay nag-i-emit din ng greenhouse gases, ng CO2 kasi we have transportation, we have jeepneys, we have cars, we have industries. But our contribution to greenhouse gas emissions is negligible. We're only emitting, I think, less than 1%. Okay, kung kakamali man, I don't know, I don't remember the exact figure, but it's very, very small. But China, India, Europe, and USA, they emit a substantial portion ng global contribution for greenhouse gas emissions. And because of that, yumayaman sila kasi nakakapag-power sila ng industries nila, di ba? The effect is nagkakaroon ng global warming, and sabi nga nung scientists, adverse climate change impacts. Tayo yung tinatamaan nun because we are in the typhoon belt. Kasi the effects of climate change, the effects of global warming ay hydrometeorological. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga severe weather, ito yung mga bagyo na dito sa Western Pacific, we are in the typhoon belt na tayo yung tinitira palagi ng mga bagyo along with Taiwan and Japan. So dahil sa ganon, ang daming disasters dito sa Philippines, no? May economic growth tayo, but every time na may disaster, we get pulled down, no? Yung ating mga achievements nahihila pababa. So paano natin ngayon aayusin 'yon, 'di ba? Parang kailangan din natin mag-run ng industries, no? Hindi naman pwedeng mag-mitigate tayo ng climate change na kawawa naman yung development dito sa Philippines considering that ang liit lang ng contribution natin. So, nagka-clamor yung mga tao ng climate justice. I-compensate tayo ng China, i-compensate tayo ng mga major greenhouse gas na countries na nag-i-emit. How do they compensate us? No? So merong mga agreements diyan. Kaya nagkakaroon ng mga conference, kaya nagkakaroon ng mga agreement ng Green Climate Fund na yung mga major mga developed countries na malakas magbuga ng usok, sila yung magtutulong sa atin. And that is what is called climate justice. Now, ang naiisip ko at naiisip ng marami ay tulungan nila tayo sa pag-adapt ng sa mga communities, pagplano ng mga communities, and two, tulungan nila tayong mag-mitigate din. No? How do we do that? Merong mga tinatawag na clean and renewable energies. Like for example, solar power. Merong technologies for converting the tides into energy. Meron tayong mga geothermal power plants which are clean and renewable sources of energy. May wind power, may hydropower. And the technologies come from these developed countries. Kailangan ibalik nila sa atin yon. I-share nila yung knowledge and technology so that we can run our industries, power our industries na clean and renewable energies ang ginagamit. And if they do that, we are able to run our industries, magdi-develop tayo, we are able to produce, contributing to our GDP, no? And pag nangyari yon, contributes to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. And that is what is meant by climate justice.
Yeah. Dr. Lagmay, meron ba hong measure in terms of how are these big four regions fulfilling their promise in terms of the mitigation, halimbawa US, China, Europe, and India? Talaga bang bumababa ang emission nila? Are they hitting targets or are they exerting effort, 'di ba? Since sila yung major nag-i-emit, no?
Well, kung meron man, dapat malimit natin by 1.5 degrees yung corresponding na warming. Pero as of the moment, pataas pa rin ang pataas, no? And it is not yet enough, no? So well, hindi ko pa masasabi kasi kaya nga meron tayong targets, di ba?
Diba?
And we will know by 2030. But I've seen some articles na sinasabi nila na yung average temperature na yan above the pre-industrial levels aabot ng 1.5. Sana hindi naman. Sana meron tayong magawa, no, na hindi lang Philippines kundi yung mga developed countries na talagang by 2030 we are able to limit it by 1.5 degrees. And you can see that meron naman action, di ba? I
Meron
mean,
po.
world
So, to your
leaders
knowledge, are they fulfilling their commitments, US, etc.? To your knowledge, according to reports and the data, are they fulfilling?
I'm not that aware of it, no, but I would suppose na meron silang ginagawa, no?
But some are better than.
And there are metrics for that, no? Hindi ko lang alam ngayon, so I cannot
Okay.
answer you.
Yeah,
So,
Carlo,
but maybe we can Google it and the metrics for yung monitoring ng
Carlo, you
targets nila.
want to say something?
Yeah, actually very interesting because ito ho ang trabaho ko eh. I work for an energy company. So this is something that we deal with every day. And the good news is, going back to tinatanong mo, Fad, of course, some are better than others. But the good news is the first thing we have to realize is the technology is there.
Okay.
Nandiyan na ho yung technology to achieve the goals that we've set. Babalikan ko ho yung technology niya kasi it has an impact on what we do here in sa civic show kasi the technology is there, but a lot of Western companies have very strict corruption policies, anti-corruption and anti-bribery policies. And this is where good governance comes in because a lot of these multinational companies that have the technology to mitigate climate change. For example, in the Philippines, nahihirapan silang pumasok dito because of their anti-corruption practices and anti-bribery. So parang we have so many wasted opportunities because of that. And every year sa election, naging issue to, di ba, Leloy, na corruption, baba natin. Pero dito natin nakita yung actual impact niya kasi ako nakikita ko mismo how many opportunities are missed because of our reputation as a corrupt government to deal with. But going back on the good news, there are lots of good developments. Even let's say China, I have to say they are leading the world in terms of renewable energy. If you guys have heard of this massive solar plant in the Gobi Desert, China is actually leading the world in renewable energies, and this is all attainable because the technology is there. Yung ang usapan ngayon dito, Doc, di ba, yung energy transition. And governments around the world are pumping billions of dollars into this thing called energy transition because we're giving incentives to companies to develop renewable technologies and integrate it into existing power grids. So that is the challenge.
Okay. That's good news, at least, Carlo, no? Dr. Lagmay, if I may, we've been talking about the climate mitigation. I'd like to talk about climate adaptation in the Philippines, no? To your knowledge, are we making the right preparations? Are we doing the right things? Because I know immediately after yung mga Ondoy, mga Yolanda, we're talking about identifying hazard zones. We must not build on hazard zones. How is that coming along?
What kind of answer do you want?
Honest.
The truth? Or...
Honest answer.
Well, the simplest answer is no.
Okay,
no,
let's
no.
work on that. Let's work on the no.
But, I have a reason. No, I have a reason. A very, very good reason why I say no. Okay. Paano ba kapag, di ba kapag nagkakaroon ng disaster? pag interview yung media ng survivor, ano ba ang mga unang sinasabi? Hindi namin inakalang ganitong kalaki. We did not expect this kind of flood. It's so high. We've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Hindi namin in-expect yan. Okay. Natural lang naman yon. Kasi when you get surprised, you fail to anticipate, there will be a disaster. Correct? Kaya yun ang sinasabi nila. Hindi namin inaakala. Okay. Ngayon, paano nakapag-climate change? And these are projected impacts that are worse than the historical record. They have never happened before. It's worse than the previous floods, than the historical floods. Okay. Now, if we plan our communities using historical flood maps or flood maps that are based on anecdotal accounts, they will be underestimated. For example, yung flood map ng Tacloban, storm surge map ng Tacloban, was severely underestimated. These maps were distributed in 2010, no? Early of 2010, to local government units, including Tacloban. And ang sinasabi lang doon sa map, siguro mga 20-30 meters lang ang kailangan yung iusog to be safe from the storm surge. Now, the storm surges entered inland up to 2 kilometers.
Wow.
Okay. So paano ngayon yung evacuation if you base it on the underestimated storm surge hazard maps, which is based on anecdotal accounts. So yung iyong preparations, pati yung prepositioning ng goods and magpi-preposition yung mga tao, underestimated. So kaya nabasa lahat ng preposition goods. Pati yung mga rescuers, nalunod. Diba? Yung mga evacuation centers, where the centers where a lot of people died. Because we failed to anticipate the type of storm surge delivered by Yolanda, which may be, no? Kasi ang Yolanda event was packaged as a climate change scenario. Ayun, so we failed to anticipate. Anecdotal yung ating mga accounts of floods translated into hazard maps. And until now, despite that hard lesson, national government still uses historical hazard maps for floods and landslides and storm surges. The same underestimated storm surge hazard maps are still being peddled for use by local government units, peddled by the national government. Now, if that is the kind of hazard map that we use, our plans will be underestimated. And the next time that a Yolanda event happens or a bigger event happens because of climate change, ganun na naman. Underestimated, failure to anticipate the future bigger event than what we have experienced. And what happens? It's going to be a disaster. So pagka ulit na naman tayo nun, which is bound to happen, kasi historical ang ating preparations, walang climate change, walang bigger events, no? A disaster is going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Dr. Lagmay, who are, and this is not to put blame on anybody, no? But who are the government agencies now tasked to handle the adaptation?
Ayoko kasi nakakalabang ko si Manolo na magsasabi nun. But anyway, there's good news, no? May good news tayo.
Let's go to the good news.
Good news tayo. Ayoko nung masyadong negative eh. Pero yun lang naman yung advocacy ko. Always focus on the good news, hoping that
what are the efforts? What are the successful efforts? Yeah.
Sige. Ang nakita ko doon sa Philippine Development Plan, no? Na-mention doon yung word na probabilistic risk assessment. Ibig sabihin, imbis na worst case historical scenario of the hazard, gagamit tayo ng multiple scenarios, including scenarios of climate change. And in the Philippine Development Plan, that was included to make use of probabilistic risk assessment, which follows the agreements of the Sendai Framework. Nagkataon din na noong 2019, the Climate Change Commission issued a policy, no? Meron silang policy called as the National Climate Risk Management Framework. Nakalagay doon, we have to use probabilistic risk assessment, yung multi-scenario including climate change. Nandun na sa ating mga legal, may legal framework, no? Nandun sa, dapat sinusunod yung NEDA, yung sinasabi ng NEDA. Dapat sinusunod yung sinasabi ng Climate Change Commission. But, until now, somehow, hindi sinusunod yon. And I really can't understand why.
Okay, so the plans are there, no? And
The
possible.
plans are being made.
Yeah.
The plans are being made for all communities, 1,364 or 1,600 something, no? Madami. But the plans are based on the historical record.
Oh, kulang pa rin yung,
Underestimated.
yeah.
Yes, it will be just like Yolanda. When it happens, the plans are underestimated, okay? And then there's failure to anticipate, which will turn out into a disaster.
Okay.
Dito pumapasok FADS and yung binanggit ni Mahal, because nung nasa pamahalan kami, and this is without casting blame on anyone, but I think it's human nature. Kapag eksperto ka at merong dumating na isa pang eksperto at yung bunga na ng kanilang expertise ay parang kini-question yung dati mong expertise, nagiging kaaway mo yung isang eksperto. So ang problema dito, yun nga, there are many people who for generations parang the gold standard was, tingnan natin ang pinakagrabing nangyaring flood or whatever sa lugar na ito, yun ang pagpaplanuhin natin. And alam mo, it takes a while just to get that into everyone's coconut. Tapos biglang tatapon mo na yung hard work na yun dahil yung pala obsolete na siya. Ang hirap nung tanggapin. But one thing that's very clear is yung palaging lumilitaw dito sa Proyekto Pilipino, yung konsepto ng whole government approach. And in fact, what comes in now is hindi lang government but private sector approach. Hindi mahilig si Mahar na mag-angat ng sariling bangko. So ako na lang mag-aangat ng bangko niya. But meron siyang dating tinayo called Project Noah. And the idea of this, in simplest terms, was to bring new technology that is simpler, faster, and make it more understandable to everyone para magamit yung impormasyon in real time for measuring the climate and what's happening. Maraming galit dito because for some reason, maraming mga eksperto ang nagagalit kapag ginagawa mong simple ang mga bagay na pwedeng intindihan ng karamihan. I don't know why, but that happens. But anyway, ang resulta nito, ang mga number one supporters ni Mahar in his advocacy were not necessarily people in government, kundi yung private sector. Yung nakikita nila na yung impormasyon nito tungkol sa ulan, tungkol sa baha, magagamit pala para iligtas ang mga negosyo, ang mga grupo, ang mga, di ba, mga pook. If we bring this back, so many adjustments have to be made by so many people in so many things. Hindi talaga ito gagalaw until other people start putting pressure on those who want to keep it according to the old ways. And I think Mahar can give you concrete examples yung how for example, yung konsepto na sa mga malls ang nagiging areas for na pwedeng likasan ng mga tao pag may natural disaster is just taking advantage of a reality. But the same malls and the same corporations were putting free monitors in their cell towers, in their other places, and these all communicate with each other to give a bigger network than government could ever build. Mahar, maybe you could tell us what can ordinary groups and schools do in this regard?
Thank you very much for giving that brief background about Project NOAA. No? Ano pa naman, Project NOAA is still alive. It's called as the UP NOAA Center. And we have, I'll show, if I'm able to share my screen, I'll show the site, no, so that people can look at it. No, it's still very much alive and kicking. In fact, we have a lot of projects, no. Ganito, yung advocacy ko dito is like this. I was in Japan. I was talking to a Japanese professor na parang similar sa ginagawa ng Project NOAA, no. We're talking about maps. May museum sila doon, and then I saw beautiful maps na probabilistic, no, multi-scenario. And I asked him, did you experience any problems when you first showed these maps to the public? Sabi niya, oh yes. There was a lot of resistance. People who wanted to maintain the status quo tried to maintain the status quo, no? Parang ayaw nila ng disruptive na mga ideas and disruptive technologies na ma-change yung status quo. So I was surprised by his answer, and I said, so what did you do? Nothing. I just had to wait 20 years. Then after 20 years, the same people who resisted got affected by the hazards. And they were the ones who came back, who went to him and asked for more hazards, asked for more hazard maps. Ayon. Project NOAA was launched in the year 2012, no, by Pinoy, no, by President Aquino. And ano ba, ilang years na ba tayo since that time? 2012, it's already 2024. So we have 12 years, we have 8 more years. We can wait 8 more years before there's acceptance by everybody. And let's remember these are disruptive technologies that we introduced.
Yeah.
National. Ang laki. It was the first non-overseas development assistance or non-ODA na project ng government amounting to 6.3 billion pesos. Ang laki. Dati puro foreign groups ang nagbibigay, 'di ba? Puro loans, puro ganyan. Pero it appeared with Project NOAA, the program of government during that time, ay kaya pala natin. Mas maganda pa pala yung mga produkto natin. Effective. In fact, there were 15 averted disasters that I can talk about because of the introduction of mga automated weather stations, mga flood sensors, the real-time data, nilagay sa website, mobile apps that empowered the Filipino people. Dati kasi, pinoprocess yung data, tapos ilalabas yung warning. Maniwala ka o hindi sa warning, sundin mo yan. Dito sa program noong panahon na yon, nung NOAA, nilagay yung datos sa mobile phone. Nakikita ng mga tao in real time, well displayed, informative, no? And it's at the tip of your fingertips. You can access it anytime, anywhere. That's empowering, di ba? So, hindi na kailangan maghintay ng warning, ng advice. They themselves can figure out what's happening and what kind of action they need to make. Yun yung kagandahan doon sa programa. But apparently, there was resistance from those who wanted to maintain the status quo. Pero matagal na nangyari yun eh. That was, 20, I don't want to, cry over it. No? So, maganda naman ay kinuha kami ng UP. No? UP adopted us. And it's now as the UP NOAA Center, which is under the UP Resilience Institute. So you can go to our website, punta tayo sa NOAA, yan, UP-Edu-PH. So that's the website. So if you type my house, okay, my current location, there, see, it's going to go there. And then it's in 3D. And we also mapped out all of the buildings, the houses in the entire Philippines, so that you can see your place relative to the hazards in your neighborhood. So may assessment na doon. We can even go to, halimbawa, saan bang gusto nyo? Punta tayong Cagayan de Oro o Tacloban? Tacloban. If you go to Tacloban, you go there. Okay, so lilipad na lang kayo doon and then wait a little bit. So kung nagka-storm surge, may bagyong Yolanda, dapat nandyan kayo. Okay, so para alam nyong ligtas. No?
Galing.
Pero pag nag-preposition ka dito, okay, pag
Okay.
nag-preposition dito, yung storm surge hazard is high. Matutupok ka dyan. Okay? Yun. And the thing is, according to the UNDP report of 2022, 59.7% of LGUs use this. You use NOAA, no? For whatever purpose they have, no? Sa kanilang community. And that is good to hear.
Yeah.
Ang problema, sana nagkatuloy-tuloy pa yung ginagawa namin para mas maganda pa. Kasi bago nagkaroon ng AccuWeather, yung display ng Windy, na mayroong mga storms, nakalapat doon sa hazards, nakalapat doon sa NOAA was first in all of these things. No? So thank you to the government na nag-launch nito, kasama si Manolo Quezon dito, and it was in 2012 when it was launched.
Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Lagmay. Siguro, Dr. Lagmay, closing, mukhang wala tayong magagawa sa init. We just have to weather through this period. But maybe closing, gaano katagal pa ho itong nararamdaman natin na init? Just going back to that first topic that we discussed. Sa inyong predictions, how long are we gonna have to endure these very warm temperatures?
Magandang pakinggan natin ang Pag-asa, no? So meron naman sila mga predictions, no, na sinasabi nila kung iinit pa o hindi. Pero narinig ko rin na sinabi nila na we are already transitioning from El Nino to La Nina, no? So that means it's going to be more wet, mas maulan. Ang problema nito, siyempre pag mas maulan, di ba, may cooling effect 'yon sa atin eh. So, ayan, pag ganoon, ang problema naman natin, pag mas wet, mas maulan, ay yung baha naman ang ating problema at saka landslides. So, sala sa init, sala sa lamig. Ika nga.
Dr. Lagmay, maraming salamat po. And we hope we can invite you again to discuss in greater detail Project NOAA. Ang adaptation ang mahalaga and I think we could somehow lobby na, in quotation marks, lobby na sana ma-adapt ito ng mas marami pang mga So, Dr. Lagmay, on behalf of Proyekto Pilipino, maraming salamat po. And Manolo, Leloy, and Carlo, thank you very much. And siguro po ay makakasama ulit natin si Dr. Lagmay, lalo na pag pumasok na ang tag-ulan, Dr. Lagmay. We will invite you again. So mga kaproyekto,
Malamang.
Yes, so we will surely invite you. So marami pong salamat mga kaproyekto, and we hope that this episode has been as somehow awaken so many questions, so many hopes, and hopefully we can work together on projects to get our government to move and to act. Marami pong salamat. Ito po ang Proyekto Pilipino.